Breaking. Unexpected change turns the Warriors upside down. News. You blinked, and the Warriors' scenario looked different. In truth. We're right at that point in the season where every game weighs like a litmus test, but at the same time, the most important conversation might not even be happening on the court. It's happening behind the scenes. And I want you to come with me to the end because what's shaping up for the next 2 weeks could completely change the way this team ends the season. Before I get into what's going around right now, I need to get everyone on the same page. Today is that moment when you can no longer treat the season as, let's see what happens. The date is marked on the calendar. The trade deadline is February 5th. 2 weeks to go. And that changes the behavior of everyone in the league. Teams that thought they were going to fight up there are starting to assess risks. Teams that are halfway through decide whether to speed up or stop altogether. And, for Golden State, this decision is not just about improving one detail. It's about choosing the path. This is Warriors Family TV, and if you like following Golden State with constant updates, calm analysis, and frank conversation, take advantage and sign up now. In fact, this makes a real difference for the channel, and I will explain why later. But sign up now because, at this stage of the year, the news changes quickly, and you don't want to be late when the movement happens. Now let's get to the point. Why is this topic catching fire? Because the Warriors' situation is at a crossroads. There are games in which the team seems ready, in place, with a connected defense, and an attack flowing the way we know it. And there are games where everything crashes. The ball stops, possessions become predictable, defensive failures appear in sequence, and the team needs miracles from Curry to breathe. It's a roller coaster. And when a team experiences peaks and valleys, management needs to ask itself what a phase is and what a cast limitation is. And here comes a factor that made the conversation even more serious. The news of Jimmy Butler's injury. It's the type of blow that changes planning, changes the locker room, and changes the minds of those who make decisions. When a player of this size leaves the scene, you can choose 2 stances. You can try to hold on and bet that what you have is enough to remain competitive. Or you can face the fact that you've opened a hole and that if you do nothing, you'll simply watch time pass, game after game, until the season slips through your fingers. Curry is still Curry. This is not a ready-made phrase. It is reality. His impact still forces any defense to change everything. And when you have a player like that, you can't live in let's try mode. You need to give the team a structure that works consistently, especially in big games, especially in playoffs, where every possession is worth its weight in gold and where the opponent will hunt your weak point without mercy. And that's exactly why this topic has become so hot. Because there's a feeling within the fans, and I think you feel it too, that there's a missing piece. It is not a savior. It is a piece that provides stability. A winger who truly defends, who can change marking, who doesn't become an easy target, and who on the other side helps with spacing, punishing when the marking doubles on Curry. A player who doesn't need the ball to be useful, but who appears at the right time. It is this profile that separates a dangerous team from a truly reliable team. And then we come to the topic that has been hanging around for too long, Jonathan Kuminga. I will speak with all due respect to his talent, because talent exists. But the situation, as it is, has become heavy. When a player of Kuminga's caliber and age becomes out of the rotation, when his participation disappears for weeks, when the topic becomes, when will he return to play, and not, how has he evolved, the entire league takes notice. And the entire league uses this as an advantage in negotiations. It's not a matter of opinion, it's how the market works. And to make matters worse, information came that changed the tone of the conversation. From January 15th, when he became eligible to be traded, the news emerged that Kuminga wants to be traded. This is big, because when it becomes public that there is an exchange request, the negotiating power changes. The Warriors now need to make a quick and intelligent decision. Either they find a way to reorganize the situation, or they turn this soap opera into a noise that contaminates the rest of the squad at the most delicate moment of the year. And this is where things start to turn the tables upside down, because when you add deadline knocking on the door, important injury, pressure for results, and player asking for a trade, you have the type of scenario that makes the franchise move. And it's not just about basketball, it's because of locker room management, because of a message to Curry, because of direction ion of the project. Now, I want you to do one thing with me. Pay attention to the following. There are rumors, and there are rumors. There is a rumor that he is born from fans and dies in an afternoon. And there are rumors that it appears because it makes sense for more than one team, because it fits salary, it fits needs, and mainly because it solves real problems. And what is gaining momentum now is precisely a type of negotiation that, when it appears, deserves to be analyzed calmly. An exchange involving 3 teams. Why 3 teams? Because it's not always possible to resolve everything one by one. The Warriors want to turn a young asset into a player ready to contribute now. A second team may want to take a chance on this young man and accept the risk. A third party may be looking for depth and specific pieces, and then everyone comes away with something they find useful. It's complex, but when it fits, it can happen. And a name that started to appear more consistently in this conversation is DeAndre Hunter, linked to a construction that would involve the Cavaliers and Suns. I'll tell you what makes this name stand out. He has the type of profile that the Warriors need in terms of function. A winger with physical size, capable of marking more than one position, who can contribute without monopolizing the ball, who enters the court and makes the team more adult in difficult situations. When you think about the playoffs, you think about having people who can handle being attacked, who don't disappear, who understand the defensive plan, and who don't panic when the game gets tough. But like everything in the NBA, there is another side. No trade is perfect, and you know that. Hunter, like any player, comes with questions. Season efficiency, context of the current team, real fit with the Warriors system. And that's precisely why I want to give you an honest analysis here, without makeup, the way I would talk to you off camera. First, why would the Warriors consider this now? Because it is an exchange of instability for predictability. You give up the raw potential of a young athlete, but you gain someone who can help immediately, who fits a clear role, and who reduces the need for improvisation. In a cast that already has stars with the title window counting down the days, predictability is worth a lot. Second, why would other teams agree to get into this? Because each franchise is at a different stage. There are teams that want depth to withstand injuries and increase rotation options. There are teams that want to bet on youth and athleticism, especially if they believe that the current environment is not the best to develop that player. And there are teams that can see Kuminga as an investment with a high return, precisely because they believe that, with a different structure, he will become what many people imagined when he entered the league. Now comes the most important part. What would this concretely change within the Warriors? It would change the balance of minutes. I would change who closes games. It would change the type of lineups that Kerr could use, especially if the team wants to return to more defensive consistency without completely sacrificing the attack. And in addition, it would send a clear message to the squad. The focus is on winning now. In terms of mentality, this has weight. And there is a detail that is being discussed behind the scenes, and that makes this period even more tense. There is uncertainty about Steve Kerr's future. When the season enters a phase in which even the technical command becomes an issue, the environment becomes more sensitive. And when the environment becomes sensitive, a change can be both a remedy and a trigger. Therefore, if the Warriors make a big move, it needs to be tied up very well. You can't exchange it for the sake of exchanging it. You have to change it to resolve it. I know that at this point you may be thinking, okay, but what if the Warriors are selling Kuminga at the drop? It's a fair question, because when a player loses space and the situation becomes public, the value can drop. And then you run the risk of not receiving what it could be worth in another scenario. But there is also a harsh reality. Sometimes, holding on to a problem waiting for it to become a solution just wastes your time. And time, for the Warriors, is a resource that is becoming increasingly precious. Now let me ask you something quick, because this is very important for the future of Warriors Family TV. If you're watching and like this type of direct content, with context and analysis thinking about what really matters to the team, leave a like now. Likes help the video reach more Warriors fans, and this completely changes the reach of the channel. It's not an exaggeration. And if you haven't signed up yet, sign up now, because our goal is to reach 2,000 subscribers, and I'll be very transparent with you. Reaching this goal helps the channel to grow a lot, helps maintain a high frequency of videos, helps bring more coverage, and above all, helps YouTube understand that this content deserves to be recommended to more people. Entity. If you can be a part of this today, you are literally strengthening our community here. Returning to the court, I want you to imagine with me what happens when a team finds a reliable wing to play alongside Curry and Draymond in decisive moments. Curry attracts two markers, Draymond organizes, and suddenly you have someone who can receive in the corner and punish or attack a closeout without getting overwhelmed, or simply hold the best player on the other side for a few minutes for the team to breathe. It seems simple, but this is exactly the type of piece that defines series. And that's why a move like this, if it happens, has the potential to completely change the perception of the Warriors in the West. And here, I need to tell you something honestly. The difference between a team that is hard work and a team that truly threatens generally lies in two things: defensive consistency and quality of decisions at the end of the game. You can have talent, you can have a name, you can have history, but if you can't defend seriously for long periods and if you don't have the repertoire to perform when the game gets tough, you fall. And the Warriors, as they are, still fluctuate on these 2 points. What I see at this moment is the franchise being forced to choose. Either she tries to find an internal solution to the Kuminga situation and lives with uncertainty until the end of the season, or she transforms this asset into a fitting piece and tries to stabilize the squad for the final sprint. And I'm not saying that the second option is automatically the best. I'm saying she's the most aligned with what Curry represents for this era of the Warriors: urgency with intelligence. Now, if you like following this type of movement, do one more thing for me. Activate the bell, because in deadline week, the news changes in hours. And I want you to receive the video as soon as it comes out, so we can comment together, understand the details, and not fall for an empty headline. Here the idea is to always separate what is noise from what can really happen. And I'm going to give you a point that many people ignore, but which weighs heavily. The Warriors don't have infinite freedom to change the squad. Financial issues and league rules always factor into the bill. This means the trade needs to be viable in terms of salary, rules, and rotation impact. It's not a video game, so when a build comes along that looks clean for the Warriors without requiring the team to throw away the entire future, it gets attention. And that's why these 3-team formats appear. They unlock possibilities that a simple swap wouldn't unlock. But there's one thing I want you to be careful about when consuming this type of news. A lot of things circulating at this time are attempts to leverage negotiations. Sometimes a name is leaked to put pressure on another team. Sometimes information appears to measure reaction. And sometimes the conversation is real, but it's far from closed. So what I want you to do is, don't get caught up in will it happen, but rather in, does it make sense? If it makes sense, it deserves attention. If you don't, it's just smoke. And now, I want to hear you. For you, if the table puts DeAndre Hunter as a real possibility in a trade involving Kuminga, would you do it? Do you think this type of player solves a need for the Warriors, or would you prefer to bet that Kuminga can still turn the game around here? I read the comments, I really do, and this part is important because the channel grows when the community talks, disagrees respectfully, and builds analysis together. So write it down. Would you make this change or not? And for those of you who are arriving now and are still in doubt whether it's worth subscribing, I'm going to make a simple and very sincere request. Help Warriors Family TV reach 2,000 subscribers. This strengthens the channel, opens doors, increases reach, and allows us to maintain real coverage without relying on rush and without losing quality. If you like the Warriors, if you like to talk about the team seriously and passionately, this subscription is the most direct way to support. Now, to close this video with the clarity you deserve, the next fortnight will define a lot of things. It will define whether the Warriors choose to be aggressive and reorganize the squad to try to save the season, or whether they will hold back and bet that what exists today can survive the ups and downs. And I'm telling you this looking at the full context. Important injury, table pressure, rotation uncertainty, Kuminga's trade request, and the deadline knocking on the door. It's not an ordinary moment. It's a moment of decision. So stay with me here in the video, keep watching, because in the next few minutes I will update everything that comes out, and as soon as new information appears, I will come back with another video for us to analyze together, without exaggeration and without fuss. Leave a like, subscribe, activate the bell, and tell me in the comments what move you would make if you were in the front office position today. The conversation continues here, and I want you in it. And to close it the right way, pay attention. The clock doesn't stop, the deadline doesn't wait, and the Warriors can't afford to blink now. What happens between now and February 5th isn't just another trade. It's the difference between entering the playoffs looking like a real threat or spending the rest of the season living off flashes and almost. If this movement gets off the ground, it changes the rotation, changes chemistry, changes who closes the game, and changes the level of respect that the league will have again when it looks at Golden State. And if it doesn't happen, then each defeat will hurt twice as much, because there will always be that question in the air. Why didn't they do anything when there was still time? So I want you with me in this final stretch, because here we don't live off empty headlines. We analyze, compare, understand the fit, and separate rumor from real possibility. If you like this video and want to strengthen Warriors Family TV, now is the time. Like, subscribe, and activate the bell, because any update can be released at any time, and I will bring everything quickly and well explained. And remember our goal, 2,000 subscribers. Reaching this goal really helps the channel to grow, reach more fans, and maintain this pace of content every day. It's a click that changes everything for us. And there is a final request, which is very important. The pinned comment will contain the playlist, Warriors Analyses. Click on it as soon as you finish here and watch the next video, because there I left the most complete analyses, the game readings, the pieces that make sense, and the scenarios that can really happen. Take it from me. If you want to understand what's behind the Warriors' decisions, this playlist is the way to go. So finish this video and go straight to the pinned comment. Warriors Analyses. Now I want your opinion. Would you make this change or would you hold on? Write down here, because I read everything. See you in the next video. And until then, Dub Nation, keep your eyes open because the next news could turn everything upside down.